Sometimes artists praised by critics for their innovation can't really connect with the general public. In this video, we'll look at 8 artists critics hyped but people hated. FKA Twigs. FKA Twigs has been a critical darling from the very beginning. Her debut album LP1 in 2014 was widely praised as a masterpiece of experimental R&B and electropop, with The Guardian, Pitchfork, and The New York Times calling her one of the most innovative artists of her generation. Her 2019 follow-up, Magdalene, was equally celebrated, getting an 88 out of 100 on Metacritic. Twigs was frequently compared to Björk and was seen as a visionary pushing the boundaries of genre. Her videos are also out of this world, but that level of praise didn't really get her mainstream success. Her albums charted modestly, with Magdalene peaking at number 54 on the Billboard 200 and her latest album Musexual peaking at number 24, and her streaming numbers are not where they're supposed to be. Part of the divide is because of how critics framed her as a once-in-a-generation artist, but she couldn't connect with the average listener. FKA Twigs remains one of the clearest examples of the critic's darling who couldn't convert that into chart success, as she has never had a charting single ever. Tory Kelly. When Tory Kelly emerged in the early 2010s, she was quickly seen as a vocal powerhouse. Critics praised her technical skill, range, and ability to deliver ballads with raw emotion. Her debut album Unbreakable Smile in 2015 received favorable reviews, going on to peak at number 2 on the Billboard 200. Her Grammy nomination for Best New Artist in 2016 solidified her status as an artist critics respected. She was seen as a potential heir to the pop R&B royalty, a blend of Ariana Grande and Alicia Keys. But despite the glowing critical reception, the public's response was lukewarm. Her music often lacked the hits to keep her in the spotlight. None of her singles truly broke into the upper echelon of the charts, with her biggest hit being Nobody Love, which peaked at only number 60 on the Billboard Hot 100. Even her more experimental projects, like the gospel-leaning Hiding Place in 2018, earned her awards, including Grammys, but failed to connect with a casual fan. There was an underlying disconnect between the critical narrative, saying she was the real deal, and what fans wanted from a pop artist. In recent years, Tory has pivoted between genres. After leaving her label, she has been trying to find commercial traction, but none of her songs have had the impact she wanted. Her latest album, Tory, came in 2024 and didn't even manage to touch the Billboard 200. Cyrus. Cyrus arrived with a famous last name and an uphill battle. While critics praised her for her early releases, like Make Me Cry and the EP Good Cry, for their moody pop production, she didn't really connect with the mainstream audience. She was trying to get out of the shadow of her sister Miley, often leaning into stripped-down songs that talk about mental health, heartbreak, and addiction. Publications like Billboard, NME, and Pitchfork applauded her 2022 album The Hardest Part, comparing her to Casey Musgraves and Lana Del Rey in terms of tone and introspection. However, the listening public didn't bite. Despite the glowing reviews, The Hardest Part failed to chart on the Billboard 200 entirely, and her singles struggled to gain any traction on streaming platforms. She has a niche fan base, but never achieved the mainstream success expected of her. Part of the disconnect may stem from the perceptions of nepotism, or the belief that she hadn't earned her spotlight. Additionally, her public image didn't help her case. With multiple viral controversies, a fake relationship for social media, and inconsistent branding, Noah struggled to maintain a strong identity. Polichek. Polichek is the kind of artist critics love to champion. With her unique art pop aesthetic and boundary-pushing production, she has been hailed as one of the most innovative forces in modern pop. Her 2019 solo album Pang was met with near universal acclaim from outlets like Pitchfork and NME. Tracks like So You're Hurting My Feelings became critical favorites, ending up on year-end lists. But for many casual listeners, her music is alienating. While critics praised her for being experimental and visionary, some found her work inaccessible. Her voice is distinct and has divided listeners. Despite years of critical hype, her streaming numbers and chart presence remain modest. So Hot You're Hurting My Feelings became a viral moment on TikTok, but it couldn't generate the buzz she wanted. Her follow-up album Desire I Wanna Turn Into You in 2023 was another critical success and became her only album to touch the Billboard 200, peaking at number 87. What makes Caroline such a polarizing figure is her unique sound. She may be revered in highbrow pop circles, but in the real world of pop hits, she is non-existent. 100 gecs. Few acts in recent memory have split opinion as sharply as 100 gecs. The duo made up of Laura Les and Dylan Brady rose to prominence with their 2019 debut album 1000 gecs, a hyperactive blend of hyperpop and auto-tuned chaos. Critics were quick to label them as pioneers of a new genre, praising their risk-taking. Outlets like Pitchfork hailed their work as visionary and boundary-pushing. Their follow-up 10,000 gecs in 2023 received similarly enthusiastic reviews, with Rolling Stone calling them the future of pop, whether you like it or not. But for a large portion of the general public, the answer to the last part was decidedly nah. On social media platforms like Reddit, comment sections are filled with people dismissing 100 gecs, calling their music unlistenable. While their concerts sell well in niche markets, they have yet to land a hit or a mainstream breakthrough outside of Gen Z meme culture. Their sound is very polarizing. The disconnect between critics and listeners is huge. Critics often like subversive music, but for most of us, there's no occasion where you could just let their music play. Japanese Breakfast. Japanese Breakfast has enjoyed universal praise from music critics. Albums like Soft Sounds from Another Planet in 2017 and Jubilee in 2021 were critically acclaimed because of their lush production and emotional depth. Jubilee in particular earned her 2 Grammy nominations for Best New Artist and Best Alternative Album, and Pitchfork named it one of the best albums of 2021. Critics liked the personal storytelling and found the sound fresh. However, this critical success hasn't fully translated into widespread popularity. Despite the Grammy buzz, none of her songs have charted significantly on the Billboard Hot 100. On Spotify, her most streamed song, Be Sweet, sits around 80 million plays, a far cry from the hundreds of millions often seen by even moderately successful pop acts. Some listeners find her work overly delicate and slow-paced. For casual listeners who prefer hooks over mood, her music doesn't really click. In many ways, she represents the kind of artist critics like, while the general public often overlooks her. JPEGMAFIA. JPEGMAFIA, the genre-bending rapper and producer from Baltimore, quickly became a darling of the critics with his 2018 breakout album Veteran. His music is a mix of experimental hip-hop and punk, and was hailed as visionary by Pitchfork and The Fader. Albums like All My Heroes Are Cornballs and LP routinely landed on Best of the Year lists. Critics praised his refusal to conform to commercial hip-hop norms and his DIY production style that was influenced by noise and industrial music. However, JPEGMAFIA's sound hasn't resonated with mainstream audiences. His intentionally abrasive and chaotic song structures alienate casual listeners. Despite critical acclaim, his Spotify monthly listener count has hovered around 2 million, which is lower than semi-popular rappers. Fans often complain his music is unlistenable, with comment sections flooded by confusion. This disconnect between critical obsession and the audience's indifference speaks to a broader trend. Critics often prioritize innovation over accessibility. JPEGMAFIA thrives in intellectual circles, but most of the general public don't even know who he is. Chica. When Chica burst onto the scene with her viral freestyles, critics were quick to label her a future great. Her 2020 EP, Industry Games, was lauded by NPR and even earned her a Grammy nomination for Best New Artist in 2021. Critics praised her commanding voice and that she didn't conform to the female rap image standards. She even got a spot on the XXL freshman list. Her combination of spoken word and rap had all the makings of a critical darling poised for stardom. But outside of media circles, the public reaction was lukewarm. Chica has frequently been a subject of online controversy, asking if she is an industry plant. Despite an initially strong reputation, she failed to build her fan base or deliver a breakout hit. On Spotify, she hovers around 2 million Spotify listeners, which is decent, but low for a Grammy-nominated artist. Her most popular song is her collaboration with Fred Again and Anderson .Paak. Her other songs didn't even touch 20 million streams. Many casual listeners struggled to connect with her music, as it lacked the polished production and replay value. Which artists loved by critics but hated by the people did I miss? Tell me in the comments below.